Have you ever held on so tightly to someone or something that you could feel your own life shrinking around that grip? And have you ever noticed that the moment you finally loosen, the world does not collapse, but your chest suddenly feels like it can breathe again? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are talking about letting go of people and situations in a way that is honest, grounded, and actually usable. Not fake positivity. Not cold detachment, not pretending you never cared. We are exploring the kind of letting go that keeps your dignity intact, keeps your compassion alive, and stops the mind from chewing the same pain every night like it is trying to grind it into dust. We will walk with Stoic clarity. We will borrow what psychology understands about attachment and rumination, and we will anchor everything in Buddhist wisdom, so the conversation stays connected to awakening, karma, compassion, practice, and the way your destiny shifts when you stop feeding suffering. Here are two ideas to hold gently as we begin. First, the hardest part about letting go is not the external loss. It is the internal argument with reality. The mind keeps saying it should have been different. They should have been different. I should have been different. And it replays the same scene as if repetition could rewrite the past. That inner argument is what burns your energy. Second, letting go does not mean you stop caring. Letting go means you stop clinging. You stop using control as a substitute for safety. You stop demanding that other people and circumstances obey your preferences in order for you to be okay. You still act wisely. You still set boundaries. You still love. But you stop gripping life like a contract. Now let me tell you a story, because the mind understands concepts, but the heart changes through lived scenes. There was a person named Camille who was known for being strong. Camille was the one friends called when life fell apart. Camille could organize a crisis, solve problems quickly, and keep a steady face in public. People admired that. But inside, Camille had one private weakness. Camille could not let go. Not of people, not of old conversations, not of the way things should have gone. Camille could forgive on the surface, but the mind kept holding the receipt. The biggest pain was a relationship that ended without a clean goodbye. A partner named Devin walked away in a confusing way. No dramatic fight, no clear closure, just distance, then fewer messages, then silence, then a short explanation that felt like it was written to end the discussion rather than reveal the truth. Camille read that message 100 times. Camille searched for hidden meanings. Camille tried to build a final answer out of incomplete information. During the day, Camille functioned. At night, the mind turned into a courtroom. Camille replayed every moment. The first month after the breakup, the replay felt like grief. By month 3, the replay felt like addiction. By month 6, the replay felt like a trap Camille could not escape. Camille told friends, "I just want closure." But if we are honest, closure often becomes a name we give to the fantasy of complete control. We want a final explanation that erases ambiguity. We want certainty so the nervous system can relax. But many situations do not offer that. And when the world does not offer certainty, the mind tries to manufacture it by thinking harder. One evening, Camille sat alone unrealized, something that sounded simple but felt devastating. Devin might never explain. Devin might never apologize. Devin might never understand what Camille needed. And if Camille kept waiting, Camille would stay emotionally tied to a door that might never open again. That realization did not feel like peace. It felt like fear, because waiting was painful, but waiting also felt like loyalty to love. Camille believed that letting go meant the relationship meant nothing. Camille believed letting go meant giving up hope. And hope felt like the last thread connecting Camille to a life that once felt warm. Around that time, Camille found a small audio talk about Stoicism. The speaker was calm and blunt. He said something like this: "Your peace depends on your judgments. Your suffering is not only what happened, it is the meaning you attach to what happened. You cannot control other people's choices. You can control your own mind, your own actions, your own character." Camille felt irritated at first. It sounded cold. It sounded like someone trying to be tough. But Camille kept listening because the voice was steady, and Camille was tired of inner chaos. Then Camille heard a Stoic idea that became a turning point. There is a difference between what is up to you and what is not up to you. Not up to you includes other people's behavior, other people's emotions, the past, the fact that the world changes, and the outcome of many things you care about. Up to you includes your intention, your response, your boundaries, your values, and the quality of attention you bring to the moment. Camille realized that most suffering came from treating what is not up to you as if it should be up to you. The mind kept trying to control Evan through memory, analysis, and fantasy, but that was impossible. Still, Camille did not know how to stop. Knowing a principle is not the same as changing a habit. This is where practice matters. A friend recommended a small meditation group. Camille did not want to become a different person or join a new identity. Camille just wanted the nights to stop hurting. So Camille went. The teacher was a quiet woman named Leela. She did not speak like a motivational coach. She spoke like someone who understands the nervous system and the heart. Leela said something that felt like a Buddhist mirror held gently in front of Camille. She said, "Clinging is a natural habit of the mind. The mind clings because it believes clinging will prevent loss. But clinging is exactly what turns loss into prolonged suffering. The practice is not to shame clinging. The practice is to see it clearly and soften it with wisdom and compassion." Camille asked, "How do I let go of a person when part of me still loves them?" Leela said, "Love and clinging are not the same. Love is warmth and goodwill. Clinging is fear trying to possess. Love can remain even when clinging releases. In fact, when clinging releases, love becomes cleaner. It becomes compassion rather than obsession." That sentence landed deep because Camille had confused obsession with devotion. Camille had mistaken rumination for loyalty. Camille had believed that if the mind stopped replaying, it meant the relationship was forgotten. But the replay was not honoring love. The replay was feeding suffering. Leela guided Camille through a simple meditation. Feel the breath. Notice thoughts as thoughts. When the mind runs to Devon, name it gently as thinking. Then return to breath. Camille tried, and the mind ran immediately. Memories, images, conversations. The mind said, "You need to solve this." The mind said, "You need to understand why." The mind said, "You cannot let this go because then you lose your chance." Leela said, "Do not fight the mind. Fighting is still engagement. Instead, practice seeing. Seeing is awakening. Each time you notice the thought and return, you are training your mind not to be dragged." Camille practiced for a week. It was messy. The thoughts did not vanish, but something changed. Camille began to experience small spaces where the thought appeared, and Camille did not follow it all the way down the tunnel. Those small spaces felt like the first breaths of freedom. Then Leela introduced compassion. She said, "Letting go will not work if you secretly hate yourself for still caring." Many people hold on because the pain feels like proof that the love was real, so they punish themselves with longing. Compassion breaks that cycle. She taught Camille to place a hand on the chest at night and offer kindness to the part that was afraid. May I be steady. May I be kind. May I release what I cannot control. May I stop feeding this suffering. At first it felt awkward. Then it felt like the first truly friendly voice Camille had heard inside in months. This is where Buddhist wisdom becomes practical. The mind creates suffering through clinging and resistance. Compassion softens the resistance. Mindfulness exposes the clinging. Together they create a new karmic direction. Each time Camille returned to breath instead of replay, a seed was planted. Each time Camille offered kindness instead of self-attack, another seed was planted. Over time, those seeds became a new inner landscape. But Camille still had a question many of you have. What about situations that are not just emotional, but unfair? What if someone harmed you? What if someone betrayed you? Should you still let go? Leela did not give a soft answer. She said, letting go does not mean excusing harm. Letting go means releasing the desire to keep drinking poison just because someone else served it. You can pursue justice if needed. You can set boundaries. You can protect yourself. But you do not have to keep reliving the harm inside your body every day. That reliving is suffering on top of suffering. Camille thought about that because the breakup was painful. But there were also other situations Camille had been holding for years. Old family conflicts, a workplace betrayal, a friend who disappeared at the worst moment. Camille had carried those like stones, believing the weight was necessary to stay safe. Stoicism helped here too. Stoic practice does not ask you to pretend things are fine. It asks you to accept reality as it is. Then act with virtue where you can. The Stoic idea is not passive. It is disciplined. It says, I will not demand the world to be fair before I allow myself to have peace. I will be fair in my own actions. I will be wise in my own choices. I will be courageous in my own boundaries. When you combine that with Buddhist compassion, you get something powerful. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable, and you stop hating yourself for being affected. You practice a steady heart inside change. Now let us take the story further, because letting go is not one moment. It is many moments. Camille had a habit of checking Devon online, not constantly, but enough to keep the wound open. It was like touching a bruise to see if it still hurts. Of course it still hurts. Checking became a ritual of longing. It also became a ritual of self-punishment. One night Camille checked again and saw a photo that suggested Devon had moved on. Camille felt sick. The mind exploded with stories, replacement, unworthiness, humiliation, proof that Camille never mattered. Camille almost spiraled for hours. But something new happened. Camille paused and remembered the Stoic question, what is up to me right now? The answer was not controlling Devon. The answer was choosing the next wise action. Camille put the phone down. Camille sat up. Camille breathed. Camille felt the body. Tight chest, hot face, heavy stomach. Camille did not try to erase the feeling. Camille allowed it to be felt. This was the Buddhist part. Feeling without adding stories is a form of liberation. Then Camille whispered a kind phrase, may I be steady. May I stop hurting myself. This was a small moment, but it was a major karmic turn, because the old pattern was, pain arrives, then the mind feeds it with rumination, then the wound deepens. The new pattern was, kind arrives, then awareness meets it, then compassion holds it, then the mind stops adding extra arrows. Over time, Camille began to notice the deeper root of holding on. The deeper root was not Devon. The deeper root was the need to control abandonment. Camille had childhood experiences where love felt unpredictable. Camille learned to monitor moods, to stay useful, to keep peace. The nervous system became trained to believe that vigilance prevents loss. So, when Devon left, the old nervous system strategy turned on full volume. Watch, analyze, predict, prevent. But you cannot prevent an adult from making their own choices. So the mind kept working and never finished. This is where psychology and Buddhist insight meet perfectly. Many times, the person you cannot let go of is not only a person. They are a symbol of safety, a symbol of worth, a symbol of being chosen, a symbol of not being alone. When the symbol is threatened, the nervous system panics. Leela helped Camille see this gently. She asked, "What do you believe you lose if you fully let go of Devon?" Camille answered honestly, "I lose the hope that I am special to them. I lose the fantasy that they will come back and fix the pain. I lose the storyline that explains my suffering. I lose the identity of someone who is still connected." Leo nodded. She said, "Yes, letting go is also letting go of an identity. The identity of the one who waits, the identity of the one who suffers, the identity of the one who still needs an answer. That is why it feels like death. It is a small death of a story." But she said something else that changed Camille. She said, "When one identity dies, space opens for a truer identity, the identity of someone who can love and still be free, someone who can grieve and still move, someone who can practice and still be human." This is awakening. Awakening is not a mystical upgrade. It is the ability to see your stories as stories and choose not to be imprisoned by them. Now let us talk about letting go of situations, not just people. Because many of you are holding a situation that cannot be fixed by thinking. A job loss, a health change, a move, a mistake, a missed chance, an unfair decision, a season of loneliness. The mind tries to solve these by replaying. If I had done this, if they had done that, if only the world had been fair. Those thoughts feel like problem solving, but often they are grief avoidance, because the honest feeling underneath is sadness, or fear, or regret. Buddhist practice teaches something simple and radical. You can feel regret without becoming regret. You can feel fear without becoming fear. You can feel sadness without drowning. The method is mindfulness with compassion. You notice the emotion in the body. You name it gently. You breathe. You stop feeding the story. Stoicism adds a clean line. The past is not up to you. Your present response is up to you. Your future character is up to you. When you blend these, you get a practical path for letting go. You accept what happened without approving it. You release the internal argument with reality. Then you choose the next right step. Camille practiced this with a situation at work too. There had been a promotion Camille expected. Camille had worked hard, built strong results, stayed late, sacrificed weekends. The promotion went to someone else, someone with better connections. Camille felt insulted and powerless. The mind replayed every meeting. Camille imagined alternate speeches. Camille wrote angry paragraphs in the head. Camille fantasized about quitting dramatically. Leela asked Camille, "What are you clinging to here?" Camille said, "I cling to fairness. I cling to being seen. I cling to the idea that effort must be rewarded." Leela said, "Effort should be rewarded, but reality is not always fair. If you cling to fairness as a requirement for peace, you will be at war with the world. Instead, practice fairness in your own conduct. Then make wise choices about where you place your energy. That is both Stoic and Buddhist. Camille realized the situation had two layers. The first layer was disappointment. The second layer was self-attack. The mind was saying, "You are foolish for trying. You are weak for caring. You will never be valued." That second layer was optional suffering. So Camille practiced. Camille allowed disappointment to be felt. Then Camille stopped feeding the second layer. Camille took one practical step, updated a resume, looked for new opportunities, had one calm conversation with management, then stopped replaying the same rage. Over time, Camille moved to a new role. The work environment was healthier. The mind became quieter. Again, from the outside, it looked like life fell into place. But what really happened is that Camille stopped blocking the next step with endless internal resistance. This is the hidden engine behind letting go. When you stop clinging, energy returns. When energy returns, your perception becomes clearer. When perception becomes clearer, choices become wiser. When choices become wiser, outcomes often improve. That is karma. That is destiny shifting through repeated intention. Now, I want to address the part that many people do not say out loud. Sometimes you do not want to let go because you are afraid of what happens when you do. You are afraid of the silence. You are afraid of the emptiness. You are afraid that without the story, you will face a deeper loneliness. This fear is real, and it is where compassion becomes essential. In Buddhist wisdom, emptiness does not mean nothing matters. It means things are not fixed. It means your suffering is not fixed either. The identity of the one who cannot let go is not a permanent truth. It is a pattern. Patterns can change. Letting go creates a space that can feel empty at first, but that space can become freedom. In that space, you can build a new life. A life not organized around chasing, proving, or waiting. A life organized around wisdom and compassion. Camille experienced this after a few months of practice. One evening, Camille realized the mind had not replayed Devon for several hours. The moment Camille noticed, a strange sadness appeared. It was not the old heartbreak. It was grief for the old identity, grief for the time spent in the loop, grief for what never happened. Camille cried quietly, not dramatic, just honest. And then Camille felt something else, a softness, a relief, because crying without rumination is clean grief. Clean grief heals. Rumination keeps the wound infected. This is a major spiritual lesson. You do not heal by thinking harder. You heal by feeling honestly, seeing clearly, and practicing compassion. Now, if you are listening and you want a practical method, here is a story-shaped method you can test tonight, not as a list you must memorize, but as a rhythm you can return to. When the person or situation appears in your mind, pause. Ask the Stoic question, what is up to me right now? Name what is not up to you. The past, their choices, their feelings, the full outcome. Then return to what is up to you, your breath, your next response, your boundary, your value. Then do the Buddhist part. Feel the emotion in the body without feeding a story. Name it gently. Sadness, anger, longing, fear. Offer compassion to the part that is hurting. May I be steady. May I be kind. Then choose one small wise action if needed. One message, one boundary, one plan for tomorrow. One step of care. Then stop. Stop feeding the loop. This is how practice becomes freedom. Now let us talk about relationships again, because letting go is often hardest there. People ask, how do I let go of someone I still love? Or how do I let go when they are still in my life? Or how do I let go when they hurt me, but I still feel attached? Stoicism offers one anchor: love with virtue, not with dependence. Buddhism offers another: love with compassion, not with clinging. If you still love someone, you can wish them well without needing them to be yours. You can hold their humanity without returning to a harmful pattern. You can keep your heart open while keeping your boundaries firm. This is not cold. This is wisdom. Camille practiced this when Devon eventually reached out months later. It was a simple message. Devon said, "I hope you are doing well." Old Camille would have exploded with hope and fear. Old Camille would have rushed into conversation, seeking closure, seeking answers, seeking proof of being wanted. New Camille felt the surge but did not obey it. Camille paused, breathed, asked, "What is up to me?" Camille answered politely but clearly. Camille said, "I appreciate the message. I am focusing on my own healing. I wish you well." Camille did not ask why. Camille did not reopen the wound. Camille did not punish Devon. Camille simply chose self-respect. That was letting go in action. Later that night, Camille felt sadness, because even wise choices can hurt. But Camille did not spiral. Camille sat quietly, breathed, and offered compassion. "May I be steady." This is the real secret. Letting go does not mean you feel nothing. It means you stop making feelings into a prison. Now I want to widen the lens to destiny, because many people feel trapped by repeating patterns. They say, "I always choose the same kind of person. I always get stuck in the same situation. I always overthink the same way." Buddhist wisdom says, yes, patterns repeat when they are not seen. That is karma. Karma is momentum. If you keep feeding the same intention, you keep harvesting the same suffering. But when you see the pattern and choose differently, karma changes. And when karma changes, destiny changes. Stoicism says something similar in a different language. Your character is your fate, meaning the way you train your mind determines how life feels. You cannot control everything outside, but you can control the inner fortress. When you build the inner fortress with mindfulness and compassion, letting go becomes possible. Not easy, but possible. Now I want to share a reflection that may hit close to home. Many of us were taught that holding on is loyalty. We were taught that worrying is love. We were taught that replaying is responsibility. We were taught that if we stop thinking about it, we are careless. But the body knows the truth. The body knows when holding on is harming you. The body knows when your mind is turning love into suffering. Letting go is not betrayal. Letting go is the end of self-harm disguised as devotion. Letting go is the beginning of respecting your own life. I have seen this with people close to me. Someone held on to a friendship that had become one-sided for years. They kept explaining, excusing, chasing. When they finally let go, they grieved. But then they had energy for healthier friendships. Someone held on to a past mistake like it was a life sentence. When they practiced forgiveness and took one corrective action, the mind stopped replaying. Their sleep improved. Someone held on to a family conflict for decades, replaying old scenes. When they accepted that the past would not change and chose boundaries with compassion, their chest finally relaxed. These are not dramatic miracles. They are quiet awakenings. And if you are wondering what is the deeper spiritual point here, it is this. Awakening is seeing how your mind creates suffering through clinging and resistance. Wisdom is recognizing what is controllable and what is not, and choosing the skillful response. Compassion is treating your own pain with warmth, so you do not add cruelty to suffering. Karma is the momentum of repeated intention, the way every small choice shapes the mind. Practice is the daily return, again and again, even when it is hard. Destiny is the lived quality of your life as these qualities grow. When you let go in this way, you do not lose your heart, you recover it. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you have a person or situation you are learning to release, share what you are learning in the comments. You do not have to share names, just the truth of your experience. Your story might be the exact support someone else needs tonight. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment to support these long teachings. And if you want to support the work more deeply, consider becoming a member so we can keep creating calm sessions that help you practice wisdom, compassion, and a lighter destiny.